U.S. House votes against pulling American troops out of Syria. White House asks for $6.8 trillion in budget and House quickly rejects it. FBI director admits agency purchased geolocation data of Americans. German police say 8 are dead in Jehovah's Witnesses hall shooting. The earthquakes destroyed Turkey's oldest mosque and the oldest church. Muslim world leaders at the UN denounced the Taliban and media treatment of Muslim women. From Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Saamiyah Syed. Our top story tonight, the U.S. House voted Wednesday against a resolution directing the Biden administration to withdraw all American troops from Syria. The War Powers resolution was submitted by Florida Republican Matt Gaetz. It was rejected in a 103 to 321 vote, with 47 Republicans and 56 Democrats voting yes. Among the Republicans who backed Gaetz's resolution were Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, Andy Biggs of Arizona, and Anna Paulina Luna of Florida. Representative Ilhan Omar, deputy chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, worked with Republican Matt Gaetz to get the legislation to a place where Democrats could back it. Gaetz said the Inspector General's report indicates ISIS is not a threat to the homeland. Some 900 U.S. troops are currently deployed in Syria. The National Press Club in Washington, D.C. organized a screening of the BBC documentary about Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday. It was attended by Eileen O'Reilly, club president, and Steve Riley, club board governor. Eileen O'Reilly condemned the Modi regime for its suppression of press freedoms. Steve Riley demanded that India stop its persecution of journalists and suppression of press freedoms. He also condemned the Modi regime's recent ban of the BBC documentary, India, the Modi Question. Riley demanded that India rescind the ban. The controversial documentary blames Modi for being directly responsible for the Gujarat pogrom of 2002. This pogrom resulted in the slaughter of an estimated 2,000 people, mostly Muslims. Hindu supremacists razed more than 350 mosques, destroyed 20,000 Muslim-owned properties, and displaced an estimated 150,000 people, according to sources. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCaul says the U.S. left 1,000 American citizens behind in Afghanistan. He noted the U.S. also abandoned almost 200,000 Afghan partners and allies during its troop withdrawal. McCaul says the American military withdrawal from Afghanistan was a stunning failure of leadership. The hearing was the first of the Republican-controlled House committee. Gregory Meeks, a top Democrat on the committee, defended President Joe Biden's decision to withdraw from Afghanistan, saying that it was correct. FBI Director Christopher Wray admitted the Bureau purchased cell phone geolocation data from companies. Wray testified at a U.S. Senate Select Intelligence Committee hearing Wednesday. He was responding to Senator Ron Wyden whether the FBI purchases U.S. phone geolocation information of its users. Wray also said the Bureau does not make such purchases. Social welfare group Demand Progress called Wray's admission both shocking and further proof of the need for Congress to take immediate action to rein in mass surveillance. Sean Vitka, the group's policy counsel, said this policy decision affects the privacy of every single person in the United States. Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act is scheduled to expire at the end of the year. Congress is expected to soon begin debating its reauthorization. U.S. President Joe Biden on Thursday unveiled his $6.9 trillion budget request for the 2024 fiscal year. The proposal includes a so-called billionaire minimum tax. Congressional Republicans on Thursday quickly condemned and dismissed Biden's budget. It would raise the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%. The budget calls for $880 million in funding for defense programs in 2024, up 3.3% from policies enacted the previous year. Progressive lawmakers on Thursday voiced dismay that Biden is requesting a nearly $30 billion increase in military spending. They point out that request for increase comes just months after the Pentagon failed its fifth consecutive audit. The Pentagon admitted that it could not properly account for more than half of its trillions of dollars in assets. The U.S. on Wednesday announced the release of a Saudi engineer, Ghassan al-Sharbi, from Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. Sharbi was suspected of being a member of al-Qaeda. He was transferred to Saudi Arabia. He was never brought to trial for 21 years. Al-Sharbi, now 48, was captured in Pakistan in March 2002. In all, 31 prisoners remain at Guantanamo Bay, including 17 who are eligible for transfer, the Defense Department says. A story on a shooting in a Jehovah Witnesses hall in Germany comes with details after the break, so stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. 8 people, including the shooters, are dead, while leaving many injured after a Thursday shooting at a Jehovah's Witnesses hall in Hamburg. The gunman was a former member of the group. Germany has strict gun laws, and there have been few fatal mass shootings. The last shooting took place in 2020 when 9 people were shot dead by a far-right gunman. Jehovah's Witnesses believe Jehovah, the Creator, is God. He is considered the God of Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, similar to Muslims' belief in one God. The group claims a worldwide membership of 8.7 million with about 170,000 adherents in Germany. Members refuse to bear arms, receive blood transfusions, salute a national flag, or participate in secular government. Iran and Saudi Arabia have agreed to re-establish ties and reopen embassies within 2 months. The agreement came after talks held in the Chinese capital Beijing, Iranian news agency IRNA reported Friday. Noor News, linked to Iran's Supreme National Security Council, posted images taken in China with the meeting. It showed Ali Shamkhani, the council secretary, with a Saudi official and a Chinese official that state TV named as Wang Yi. A statement issued by the Saudi press agency confirmed the agreement. Iran and Saudi Arabia are on rival sides on a number of regional issues in countries as varied as Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen. An exhibit titled Amongst Men by a South African artist features Abdullah Haroon, a South African Imam who fought apartheid. Artist Haroon Ghonsali developed this multimedia exhibit. It is part of the inaugural Islamic Arts Biennale underway in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Biennales are large and prestigious international art exhibitions held every 2 years. Haroon was an outspoken critic of apartheid who was murdered while in police custody in 1969. Figures stand underneath a sculptural installation made up of hundreds of hats glowing white in a dark room. The accompanying audio includes excerpts from one of Haroon's sermons, parts of a poem by his friend, South African writer James Matthews, and the voices of his daughters. The world's oldest church and Turkey's oldest mosque were both destroyed in the country's February 6 earthquakes. In the ancient city of Antakya, the domes and walls of the 1st century Antioch Orthodox Church and the 7th century Habibi Nejar Mosque have almost completely collapsed. St. Peter and St. Paul the Apostle are considered the co-founders of this Antioch church. Antakya was built in 300 BC by Seleucus Nicator, a leading general of Alexander the Great and the founder of the Seleucid Empire. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation on Wednesday reiterated that women's rights are synonymous with Islamic rights. The group called on the Taliban to live up to the promises the regime made to respect women's rights and rescind its decision banning women's education. Muslim leaders spoke at the United Nations headquarters in New York during a day-long Women in Islam conference marking International Women's Day. OIC members are unanimous that the Taliban ban on women's education has nothing to do with Islam, Pakistani Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari says. Pakistan currently holds the rotating chair of the OIC. Emirati Minister of State Noura Al-Kabi said gender discrimination targeting Muslim women is exacerbated by distortion, misrepresentation, and misperception of Islam. Extremism and Islamophobia are two sides of the same coin, she added. Amal Hamad, Palestinian Minister of Women's Affairs, described the ways in which Palestinian women are victimized by the Israeli occupation. That's all from our Toronto studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on our YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.